Yo, what's going on guys? J Cloud here, and we're back with another Jujutsu Kaisen chapter review, and wow. We got hit with a really wild one today. The cliffhanger to this chapter was so crazy to the point where you felt unfulfilled. Not unfulfilled in a way where this was a bad chapter. This was a really good chapter, but in a way where it left you wanting more. You know, like me wanting more of you to subscribe to the channel with notification bells on and leave a like on the video. You know, those kinds of things. Because honestly, hands down, this fight might be becoming my favorite fight in the Colon game so far. Kajimo versus Hakari has been a epic showdown, and I've been loving every bit of it, and this chapter did not leave any disappointment. Now, the chapter starts off where we see Kajimo is running away from Hakari in this cargo area, running around these containers from Hakari like it's a little cat and mouse game. Now, initially, when I first read this part of the chapter, I was thinking to myself that maybe Kajimo is running away from Hakari just so Hakari can waste his time chasing him in his 4 minutes and 11 second state of his immortal mode. But I started to realize that that simply wasn't the case when I saw the way this chapter ended. Kajimo running away in the beginning was all part of his strategy. Hakari then punches one of the containers, which sends it flying to Kajimo, and Kajimo was able to give it a go by punching it back to Hakari, and I love this exchange. You could tell that both guys, with the smiles on their face, they really want to win this fight. Despite that their life is on the line, they are having fun fighting one another. They are punching this container back and forth, and it's getting smaller and smaller. They are not letting up here, and I gotta say, the art in this chapter was very impressive. I love this panel shot by Akatami here. This entire sequence was awesome to me because as they're fighting between this container, Hakari then gives it a final punch, and he breaks the container, but Kajimo takes advantage of this with his years of experience in martial arts. He then gets the opportunity to hit Hakari, and then he takes the container and then whacks him with it. And yikes, I gotta say that Hakari is very lucky, very fortunate that he has reverse curse technique automatically within this immortal state, because if he got hit with this container without that immortal state, he would have been done. But the reason why Kajimo hit Hakari with the container on the head, because curse energy comes from the stomach, while reverse curse technique comes from the head, so he believed that if he was able to do a single blow that damaged Hakari in the head, and not just any kind of damage, but a damage that can kill with one blow to the head, it will stop a reverse curse technique, no matter how powerful a reverse curse technique is, which is why after he hit Hakari in the head with the container, he sends one of his lightning bolts to Hakari, planning to explode his head off, attempting to end the fight right here and now. And Hakari knew what Kajimo was planning here was not good. He even stated himself that this doesn't look good. Hakari then states, "I'll start healing from the point it was broken." He then sends out the electric charge that was in him from his brain outside his nose. Honestly, this part was very confusing because this guy's reverse curse technique is so powerful to the point where he's able to send out electric charge from his brain to outside his nose, completely expelling Kajimo's curse energy. That is ridiculous. Even Hakari laughs about it like, yeah, you almost got me. Like, that was something that Hakari just freestyled with his reverse curse technique. But in this chapter, I would say that probably was the most impressive reverse curse technique that Hakari used. At this point of the chapter, Hakari only has 8 seconds left in his immortal state. And honestly, the feeling I was getting when I read this part of the chapter, I started to panic. I'm like, what is going to happen in the last 8 seconds of this fight? Because with 8 seconds left, Hakari is in a situation where he must end this fight as fast as possible for his advantage. Because at this point, he has to become more desperate to take Kajimo out, and which he did. He did become more desperate and more hasty because Hakari makes a reference to the lightning bolt that attacked him by Kajimo. He mentioned that that attack of his has some sort of requirement, so he shouldn't be able to use another like that for now. Because he knows that Kajimo cannot just spam his lightning attack. Because if he could, he would have been doing it. His lightning takes time to charge. So Hakari takes advantage of these last 8 seconds, trying to go all out, sacrificing his current immortal body, and Kajimo simply cannot keep up. But this was all part of Kajimo's plan. He accumulated charges in a different area. So during this situation where Hakari is taking advantage and beating him down, Kajimo was charging his lightning in a different area, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike Hakari once his immortal state runs out, sending a lightning bolt right through Hakari's rib cage, and he was able to use this direct hit by putting Hakari between his staff and himself, simultaneously hitting Hakari right when his immortality ended, which caused damage. This means that Hakari punching Kajimo when they first encountered was somewhat of a blessing in disguise because he lost his staff, on the opposite side where Hakari and Kajimo were fighting. So that is why we see in the beginning of this chapter that Hakari is chasing Kajimo, because Kajimo was trying to create space and get in the perfect position, counting down the time when Hakari will finish his immortal state. So when Hakari was going on this full onslaught the last 8 seconds, it seemed as though Kajimo was letting him just so the time can run out, which makes sense why Kajimo was smiling when it was 8 seconds left. He had this whole plan set up. At this point of the chapter, Hakari is in an extreme vulnerable position because now he cannot heal himself with reverse curse technique, which is why Kajimo at this point believes he won the fight. He's like, it's over. He believes he did what he said he was going to do, and that was to defeat an immortal. He's using Hakari as a stepping stone once he fights and tests himself against Sukuna. It's a confidence booster for him to defeat Hakari, but the problem is that the fight was not over. Hakari once again with broken ribs used domain expansion, restless gambler, and that was how the chapter ended. Now honestly, I am very surprised by this ending. I did not expect Hakari to use his domain expansion once again, but since he's going to use his domain expansion again the 3rd time, this means that Hakari will either go to the normal stage or time reduction mode, which we have not seen time reduction mode yet, so it's a high chance that we may see time reduction next chapter. The reason for this is because we found the last chapter that Hakari will not be able to enter probability mode again because the increased probability boost will end, which means that he won't be able to hit jackpot again as quickly because he's not in probability mode once he expands his domain expansion once again. So he's either going to start from normal stage or time reduction, but you notice that time reduction, the 2 routes for it, is not a guaranteed jackpot. He's either going to go back to normal stage or is going to hit jackpot. This is the risk of gambling because Kajimo stated that if he's able to get through the next immortality state, if Hakari hits that, he will be able to win. And Kajimo tried to defeat him before he was able to use his domain expansion again, but this could potentially play in Kajimo's favor. He may outlast Hakari if he gets into that immortal state once again, and honestly, it's very possible, but I don't see Hakari dying. I think it's too early for him to die in this series. He just showed up. Honestly, this fight could be interrupted, but you guys let me know in the comment section, how do you think this fight is going to turn out? Do you think Kajimo is going to win, or will Hakari win this fight, or possibly an interruption? And I'm banking on an interruption. I think an interruption is going to happen in this fight. Very possible, but I think that if an interruption were to happen, who could it be? You guys let me know in the comment section. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like on it, subscribe with notification bells on if you want to see more Jujutsu Kaisen content on the channel. You want to see discussions, theories, explains, I'm in for it. Check out my other anime and manga content on the channel. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves, stay blessed, and I'm out.